Hi everyone, welcome to Psychedelic Conversations. This is your hub for engaging in deep conversations around serotonergic hallucinogens that alter perceptions, affect cognitive processes, induce mystical and spiritual experiences. Enjoy the show. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Psychedelic Conversations podcast. And we're here again with my now friend, because we grew into this beautiful friendship. Vishnu, we had our first part of the conversation not long ago, and this is our second part together because we had so much to say. And also, I wanted to learn so much from his experiences and everything he's doing actually in the medicine space. So we had to have him back so soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and welcome, Vishnu. Can't wait to dive in.
Thank you, Susan. What a beautiful day. Namaste, family, beautiful souls. Welcome. Thank you for being with us today. I just want to acknowledge the fact that we have brought all of this into creation, and your ears and your eyes have tuned to this moment so that we can share. And of all the places you can be doing and spending your time, you're here. And that has come into your manifestation, that means that you are learning and growing in profound ways. And so I just wanted to acknowledge you for tuning in today and listening to this beautiful conversation. Thank you, Susan, for creating this platform so we can share. Thank you.
Thank you. As always, your wisdom, your energy, and your humbleness, and also the embodiment of this love and compassion. And I will remember every guest that I speak to. I always remember one thing about our guests, and with you, it's always the embodiment of love. It's going to be that. And thank you for bringing that in, as always. So, and what I would like to begin with, last time we spoke generally a lot about a lot of stuff. And today, if we can just go into the medicine space, maybe we can start with psilocybin. And what I'd like to ask you is, how do people, let's start from the beginning, and let me ask, how did you come into working with psilocybin? I always know and learn from our guests and people that I work with that it's a calling. It's usually a calling. It's always this intense, feel to need to connect with the medicine. And yeah, firstly, your experience, how did you come into it? And then how people come and find you, or how do you find them? So let's begin there.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So bless the mushroom, bless psilocybin and the benefit that it brings to us, and the whole fungi kingdom and what it does for our ecosystem and the process of life and rebirthing. It's beautiful. And so the mushroom has been that process for me. It has shown me how to rebirth myself. And so how I came into relation with it and the practice that I have now began at the age of 19 when I met the mushroom. Though on the calling portion that you speak of, I'd have to say that I was being prepared for the meeting of the mushroom many, many years before I was 19. It was actually a lifestyle that I was born into that had certain initiations to it that helped prepare me to be a medicine person or to work with people in the medicine space. And what I mean by that is I had exposure to certain kind of conditions that human beings put ourselves under, and witnessing and being involved in a variety of scenarios and situations that could be hard for an individual psyche. And so being exposed and through these at an early childhood and growing, I would consider them rites of passage on how to navigate or how to find ways through some very, very hard life situations. And this is very often what a person experiences with the psychedelics is that you come to it, looking to navigate an aspect of your life that is challenging. And so those were initiations for me much before I met the mushroom. And when I had met it at 19, there was a relationship that was developed. And so for the last 10 years of this 19 years that I'm speaking of knowing the mushroom, I have been assisting others with their journeys. And really, it's based on a very simple relationship that the mushroom has helped me. It gave me tremendous benefit. And I just wanted to see that that benefit was continued to be offered to other people, that other people may get that same benefit. It may be different because their benefit is different than my benefit, but nonetheless, I was benefited. And so it just feels natural to want to offer that space to others, like, to the ones who are open to it, not necessarily everybody, but anyone who's open to it and can benefit in their way, just to make sure that to ensure that that is available. And then that led to more refined practice with the mushroom, to the point where, I assist people very specifically with ceremony and microdosing now. And it's the two paths that I have found to be the most effective. There is a recreational path as well, which is fun for exploration. Though the intentional function of microdosing to alleviate certain practical symptoms like anxiety and stress, or clarity of your thoughts and focus, or your creative energy, that would be a microdosing route. And then there are other folks that really are looking for heavier shifts, like a transformation within, a blossoming, if you will. And so ceremony is a very intentional way to get these changes to blossom. And so I work with people in primarily those two paths, because they're the most productive that I have observed. And recreational is fun too, very fun exploration. You can meet really cool people and make these bonds. Though the deep inner work happens when you put some intention behind your what you're utilizing these beautiful medicines for. And so how it might go that I network with people is it works much like a mycelium network, like fungus itself. And so people find me through people that I've already helped, or online platforms and some sort of posting like this, and someone will become aware of me. It's very organic. And that's key to the whole process, is because there is a certain level of trust that I found that makes the application of these medicines much more effective. When you can have a trustworthy source for these medicines, you can have a trustworthy person to confide in. And I've heard people say to me things that they've said no one has ever heard them say. Like in ceremonial experience, or in post-ceremony processing and integration, some people say, I've never told my parents this. My parents don't even know this stuff about me. The people I love the most, like, you're the only person I've ever spoken this aloud to. And so in order to have that space, and that really, there's a trust. And so everything is organic in the way people come to me and the way I find people. It would be a matter of being observant of my energy and knowing where I'm led. And so blessed technology these days. Facebook is a very good platform to meet now. And people who I've worked with recommend me to other people. And we navigate a path forward, because a person may be coming without any spiritual desire to have, I just need a practical application for a medicinal a benefit that I'm desperately requiring. I have some sort of treatment-resistant depression, and I've heard that the clinical studies are showing that psilocybin help. And so we will work together to coordinate a dosage that's appropriate, a schedule that's appropriate. And if a person is more interested in ceremony, we go into a lot of preparation work on how to get yourself ready for such a transformation. That means everything from your diet, getting your temple clean to receive the medicine, because outright, the medicine works better when your body is cleaner. The cleaner your body is, you're getting plenty of hydration, nutrient-dense foods, a lot of live foods. Your body will receive this live medicine much better and have a much cleaner interaction with it. And so we go over these type of preparations all the way to the pre-processing of emotions that may come up before ceremony, because there are some anxieties that your subconscious becomes aware that you're about to process. You're about to put a light on this in a week from now. And so it starts to come up and show itself. And so those are pre-ceremony conversations that are had to prepare an individual's mind, and just to work that trust and that safety so that the person can really get the most out of the experience. And it's a very intimate experience with the ceremonies that we host. And so during the experience, you're getting soul naked. Like, you're really stripping off all these layers. And so it's very intimate, so getting the setting appropriate and being a space of unconditional love is so valuable to the space, because it allows that person to navigate places where self-reflection is present. It's not even a matter of someone judging you. You're judging yourself in the eyes of this presence of somebody that you feel judged because of some sort of shame or something associated with something. And so the person holding this space can reassure that person that it serves me not to judge myself. It really doesn't, like I'm here to make sure you can unfold everything, because the truth is you are me, and whatever you're doing is actually okay. I know, because the universe has permitted it to be. You may not want to continue to do some of these things, so let's unfold them. Let's recognize them. Let's do whatever, confess to ourselves. We have done this. I have this. It's okay. And to hold that space during ceremony is the highest honor. It really is, just to be that loving support. And so that would happen during ceremony. And again, coming into ceremony, we've done 3 days of a diet to prepare an individual, avoiding all meats, all dairy, all alcohol, and preferably you're actually abstaining from sexual interaction for 3 days so that you can build your Kundalini energy. And we use that Kundalini energy. We look to ignite it and initiate that energy so that as it rises up through your chakra system, and you get that full open heart, throat expression, your third eye is fully activated, crown chakra connection, you will feel bliss. You will feel your connection to the cosmos. And of course, that support during ceremony, and the ceremony, as amazing as that transformative experience is really only the beginning to an embodiment process afterwards, or an alignment to the revelations that you will have during ceremony. And so there's a lot of post-ceremony support for integration, speaking with the folks and allowing them to revisit it in their mind, encouraging them to take notes, journaling, and recalling it as often as you can. And I play very specific music during ceremony, because music is so vital during such an experience. And I found it to be very effective in when you share those playlists with individuals post-ceremony. So as they're in a relaxed state listening to that music, they can recall, oh my gosh, I remember, oh, the feeling, here it is. Oh my, I'm taken aback to this blissful love feeling. And that's post-body or post-ceremony integration. And it's a process of weeks, months, and years, to be completely honest. The people that I have seen have the most transformation are still having their transformation. They've just been initiated to it and now embody it in a new way. We haven't stopped learning. We haven't stopped unfolding. It is a lifelong journey. And so that's just some information in and around the mushroom space. Thank you for letting me share that.
In a nutshell, this is great information. Thank you so much. Now I've just kind of picked up 3 threads that I want to go back, if you don't mind, together. One, you said at the very beginning, when I asked, how do people come to you? I love what you said about trusting, but also I think, would you also mean that trusting the medicine? Because when I used to work with my personal shaman with the ayahuasca, she always used to say, you just need to trust this path. I think that was really, really important to understand that the application of, you said it as well, the medicine works that way. It is the total opposite of our human wiring and conditioning. to trust the path, right? Because we don't want to trust the path. We want to make sure we have a certainty. We want to make sure we already, like, there are so many people also in the medicine space where they have 2-3 years of plans ahead, and like everything needs to be, checklist. And but on the other hand, there is this phenomena of trusting the path. When you become a facilitator, medicine carrier like yourself, when you start holding spaces, holding safe containers for people to come and do their work, there is a big portion of, or at least the biggest part, is to trust the medicine path. Let's speak to that quickly, because I've got 2 more to go back to.
Yes. Yeah, it's the foundation. That's why it's the root chakra. Root chakra is trust. It's the trust in being, and just the I am. And so to carry these medicines is one thing, because this stuff isn't legal. And so to carry these medicines requires a trust. And some may look at it as a naiveness. Oh, you're being naive. It's like, I can see how it would appear that way. I walk with a trust in spirit. I walk with the trust that I am doing what spirit asked me to do, and not deviating from my own personal agenda. And when I do that, I can walk in trust. I can truly walk in trust, and submitting myself to spirit and asking for guidance. And through all my actions, and before we came on today, I asked for spirit to speak through me, that my words are guided as spirit, which is ultimately what we are, just to have a harmony flow of that energy through me, that prana. And so as I do that on a regular basis, daily, multiple times a day, bring myself into that heart-centered place, I can have trust in what I'm doing as being guided by something much greater than my person, and much greater than societal rules and the humanity, the games that humanity play with ourselves. And so when an individual begins this path, they may not have that type of trust. And so it's a matter of connecting a person with themselves in that way, or holding a reflection for that person to find that connection within themselves, so that trust can be established. Because when a person is trusting you, really all they're saying is that I can trust myself. I can trust myself. And if a person doesn't have that connection with trust, I can certainly display a way of it. I can display it. I can exemplify what trust is. And as you begin to connect with the medicine, it too will demonstrate to you this trust, and really just trusting the path. You're always being led to where you need to be. You're always in the right place at the right time. It's always happening in your favor, even if we can't see it. It's precise. And the more we become synchronized with this, we see that there aren't any coincidences whatsoever. We see that there's not a random meeting with any person. And when you can see that, you have full trust. You have full trust because you can see it playing out for you in front of your eyes. You can see how your thoughts manifest something instantly. And there's nothing else to do from that place, because you just trust yourself. I feel a person at that point is benefited to dedicate themselves to mental discipline on what they're thinking at that point, because when you have that level of trust, your thoughts are served to be the most pure that you can be, because they generate things. And if you have squirreliness in your thoughts, you're going to manifest squirreliness around you rapidly too. So visiting mental discipline at that point, but that trust, it's the root. And from it, I have watched the most magnificent blossomings of a person's heart and a person's mind, and a person's soul. And the root and foundation of that whole process was trust, having trust.
Beautiful. And I like what you said about sometimes they may think, oh, you're naive and so on, because I also got into the coaching for the microdosing processes, and my background is in trauma and somatic experiencing. And I love the fact that, bringing such as powerful tool as psilocybin into their trauma healing, or at least somatic experiencing processes, as a therapist as well, I look at it as not a naive space to go into, but also what you are doing is you are helping people to understand what they are dealing with. It's almost like a harm reduction. If these people are going to take this medicine and they'll find a way to take it, why don't you help with the harm reduction? At least this, with this level of education and information and support, I love the group processes. And I think people thrive in group processes. That's my background also. And recently I heard from Rick Doblin, MAPS Canada, founder of the MAPS Canada. He said they're about to launch a group process with psilocybin. So this was going to be their first ever group process. I thought, wow, this is great, because also confirms that somehow the mycelium network, we all don't know each other, but we are all moving in the same direction together with the same thought, same intention. And I always thought group processes are the most profound and powerful ways to transform people. And now he's kind of confirming that with creating a separate study for group process. I think that's why the indigenous people always created these sacred ceremonies where there's more attendees. Somehow the private ceremonies are great. I mean, it's probably very helpful for us in the West because we are kind of more private, and especially some of the European countries are very kind of rigid and sort of, we don't like the vulnerability part of this, because being in a group means you need to expose yourself, and you will need to expose yourself in order to heal. And sometimes people don't like that, which is fine. I like the private ceremony, the private working together, but my heart always in the group processes, the community-centric therapy circles, and these type of processes are my favorite. And just hearing it from you just gives that confirmation that it's not about naivety, it's about harm reduction, it's about collectively coming together, healing together. Just because somebody may hold a space because they have started to embark on this path earlier, this doesn't mean, some of us are on a higher level or lower level. There is no such a thing. It's all about creating a safe space to heal together, because I believe even the facilitator learns so much from the ceremonies they hold. I'm sure you can speak to that. I'm sure there are moments where you're like blown away with the level of learning that comes from your own ceremonies that you are holding space for, right? Maybe you can tell us a bit more of those experiences.
Oh yeah. I mean, it feels to me, and what has been my experience, that each ceremony is always about me. Even if it's about a group of people or an individual person who's come to me, the person's coming to me because it's about them. Though from my experience and my dharma or my incarnation, the ceremony is also about me. And so each person that I have been blessed to serve feels much like a reflection, that the mirror, like if you can visualize this, it's really cool in my mind how it feels. So before solar panels were as they were, there was this concept of solar panels where there was a tower in the center, and mirrors were reflecting the sun's light, and they were focused towards the tower to collect the tower's heat and generate power that way. And so there can be a field of like satellite looking dishes around this center beam where they can focus their light. And so as I serve people, it's a lot like the field and the dishes have turned all these different ways. They're not all facing the same center. And after serving somebody or coming into alignment with them or having that connection where it's understood that we're a shared consciousness, that there is a connection. It feels like those mirrors face the same place. And as we do this collective awakening, it's like all of our mirrors now focusing on the one tower, and we all come into alignment, collective power and focus. And so each person I serve in ceremony, it feels like this. It's like, okay, that mirror now is beaming at the same source that I'm beaming at. But it wasn't like it was like we needed to get that mirror for like fixed. There wasn't a fixing the mirror. There was just a natural process that it's just time for us to tune this direction. And there are others who have tuned in that are helping others tune in. And so each ceremony feels like that to me. And so the level of learning for me each time is I learn something new about myself, because that new reflection is now online. And I've just now loved myself in a new way. I have a deeper level of connection. Another part of me has awoken. And so as each part awakens, my awareness grows deeper. And so truly every ceremony benefits me as much as it benefits the person that or group that I'm working with.
I love that. Oh my God, I'm so glad you mentioned this as well as your experience, because this is how I know how authentic the person is. This is kind of my measuring way of understanding where people are. So even with just the classic therapy, when I get people approaching me to say, oh, I feel stuck here in this area of my life, and can we start working? Can you help me, understand this, or at least help me work through this? And as soon as somebody says that, I'm like, great, this is our project. This is also my project. So it's always this excitement, knowing that I know I will get so much out of this by facilitating this work for you. I'm just a container holding that safe space. But guess what? You have no idea how much you're going to help me learn just because you are opening up and asking help. So this is an exciting time, 100%. And I think, as a facilitator, just thinking that we're learning the most, there's a classic saying, if you want to master, I think we mentioned this before on another episode, if you want to master, you got to teach it, right? You got to at least facilitate, demonstrate. It's a bit like that. And for us, in the medicine space, I think we learn the most. 100% agree with that. Oh, yeah. And the other thing I picked up was the unconscious knowing that you are soon be putting a spotlight on this thing. So then the anxiety levels rise up. So I also heard from some of the medicine carriers that this is actually because, some interpret it this way, where they say it's a bit like the Reiki energy. When you work with the Reiki energy, you have to give permission. So there is an agreement is happening there with the person, and also the person is receiving the energy. So almost like I heard somebody saying that when you agree to work with the medicine already begins to work with you energetically. Would you say something similar? Maybe the unconscious, also the process begins before they actually get to the medicine, or at least participate in the ceremony.
Absolutely.
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Let's go into a little bit more on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's demonstratable. You can literally watch how when a person begins to be called to the medicine's already working before you even consume it. And we've had the pleasure of being in the company of people who don't even have to take the medicine, and they can have the same transformative ceremonial experience with visions and everything without even having consumed the medicine. It works even before, I even feel that a person even meets the medicine. There are happenings, the medicine's like a beautiful aroma lingering, kind of calling you in a direction. You don't even know you're following it sometimes. And then all of a sudden you're seeing symbolism, and then people are mentioning things, and all you start paying attention. This is like the 6th time this week that somebody mentioned the benefits of psilocybin to me. I feel like there's something to it. And then all of a sudden you get a message from somebody, and they work with psilocybin, and then you have the conversation of intentionally turning or investing energy towards psilocybin. The medicine's already working, and you haven't even consumed it. That's how powerful this medicine is. That's actually how powerful consciousness is itself. And so the the movement of those the subconscious, or I'm not sure the correct term to use for this, but this inner stirrings that happen prior to ceremony, I believe, are because of this, because of the medicine is working long before we go into ceremony. And it will arise, bubble things up within you, because it's already present, and it's already creating that movement of energy. Because the practice that I am in medicine is really all about energy, and it's all about movement of energy and clear connection with energy, flow of energy, harmony with energy. And so well before ceremony happens, those energy clogs are starting to loosen and bubble up to the surface. And it's exactly what I want with a person, is to tell me, oh my gosh, if I have this, good, medicine is working. And it's like, we haven't even gotten to the medicine, but the medicine is working. Great. Yes. Much before you would take the medicine, you will feel the effects of the medicine for sure.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, this is also my feeling too. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, the other thread, the assignment. Somehow, many of us in the medicine space, we actually have a joke and laugh about this with my other colleagues, and we say that once you take the medicine, it's almost like the medicine has its own agenda. And then you kind of go into an assignment. So you start to serve in a way, because, like earlier you said, because I had benefited so much, it's just a natural thing to offer it to other people so they can benefit it in their own way. But I feel like there is a deeper meaning, and there's a deeper play out here. The medicine kind of gets us on a contract or assignment somehow. What are your thoughts on that?
I would agree. It helps reveal your soul mission. I would phrase it in that way, with because the medicine gets you in connection with your authentic self, your authentic expression. And so it's like a flower blossoming. It feels like to me, you get in harmony with that happening. And as you do so, it feels like you're called to do it. Like, I'm called to allow my soul to be fulfilled in this way. It's my authentic self. And we could call that a soul mission. And so that soul mission sometimes feels, drawn to service or a particular expression, an artistic, I have to bring this to the people. And so it feels like some sort of contract or sense of driven purpose. And I would say it would just be your soul being fulfilled and in harmonious alignment with your soul. And the plant medicines, entheogens, have the capacity to connect that, or allow that connection to be reestablished in a harmonious flow. And so as you come out of it, you're touched, and you're like, I have to do this. And I've seen people come out of ceremony and they're devoted to something. I have to do this. It could be with relations, how I'm showing up for somebody, my diet, or leaving an old habit. They're just devoted in a direction. I'm going to this place. I'm going to India. I'm going to Peru. I'm going wherever I have to. I don't know why, but I got to go to the pyramids of Giza. And so it feels like there's this contract or something that's ignited. I would express it as soul fulfillment. You're hearing your soul finally, and you're hearing the calling of your soul to do exciting, epic stuff, to enjoy yourself, to be of service, to thrive here. And these are ways you can thrive here. And so, I see that activation very frequently in people. It's beautiful to watch.
Yeah. And I'm loving the way that you look at it, because I feel like you are a very sort of, because you're so embodied in everything you do, you probably don't encounter many, but some of the work that I do, I encounter a lot of bypassing because of this. Because you must have heard that most often than not, people who go through these ceremonies, suddenly we call it the spiritual narcissism or psychedelic narcissism, or at least there is another label. What is it? Return of the Messiah. The idea that suddenly after one ceremony, the idea that they can now hold ceremony with the medicine and they're now ready. I think this, of course, like everything, there is always this side to the medicine that is kind of open for abuse and open for bypassing. And sometimes the work is so deep, and we talked about this on our first episode. And just quick reminder for our listeners, if you haven't watched the first episode, please do revisit. We kind of laid the foundation on that episode a lot, especially there is nothing wrong with the light and the love and positivity, but we really need to go into the mess, descend before ascending type of concept. And I think I'm picking up, being in many communities, I'm sure you are the same. Sometimes we see posts and we pick up sort of messages that people suddenly feel like, okay, I am now shaman. So the medicine told me, I know the medicine told me, I know medicine told me that I am a shaman. So they go and, hold ceremonies, which can be quite the opposite of beneficial and quite detrimental to the process of self-growth. What are your thoughts on that?
I encounter that very frequently. I think it's a very beautiful place to bring attention to right now, as the psychedelic or entheogen revolution is taking place. These medicines are now coming out. I think we'd be served to really address what you're speaking about, because it's so common. It's so common. I speak to it often in our communities. It's beautiful to come out and be driven, absolutely, to be inspired. There is a respect for a process of your own maturation. And so honor yourself and take the appropriate time to do the appropriate steps to unfold exactly whatever your ambition is. That is a very healthy way to grow. Because if you go straight up, you get top heavy, you have no roots, you're going to fall over. Your tree's just going whoop, whoop. As soon as the wind blows, you're done. Root yourself. Take this time to study, take this time to apprentice and get to know. If you're truly going to serve a plant medicine, you need to have a connection with that medicine. And I mean, like, develop a relationship with that. Become, and if anything, one with the medicine. Be an extension of the energy of that medicine. Be a conduit, a channel of that medicine. And this happens with time. And I love where we are in evolution right now. We are severing ties with some old traumas and old ancestral stuff. And so emerging are preset beings who are ready to handle some really amazing tasks on this planet right now. They're coming pre-prepared, souls already experienced in tremendous amounts of our dharma and our karma on the earth. And so that this means that we may see shamanic type qualities in a 7-year-old, because that soul has become prepared for that. And so can a person, be activated through, say, an ayahuasca ceremony and become a shaman the next week? It is definitely possible. Though I would even encourage a person who is called to do that to honor the process of our collective and use some of the reflections from our elders. They're there for a reason. Our elders know what we know for a reason. We're here to help each other, and it fits all together. And meaning that every part is playable in this, and to a really wise person, that and I see this, the return of the Messiah syndrome very often, and I even lived through it myself. I was activated in a way that was, my God, like, is anybody else seeing the things that I'm seeing? Like, the only person that I found that really talks this way is Jesus. And I was like, I really must be in some sort of connection with Jesus, because no one seems to understand this, what Jesus was saying, or some people are, but like, I felt such a strong connection with the essence of Jesus. And so I went through this questioning of, am I the one? Because I feel one when I'm in this state. I'm one with everything. And am I the one? And it took my own process of going through that and beautiful reflections, and also encountering thousands of people who said the same thing. It was like, wow, okay, this is a thing. People really do believe they're God. And I know I am, actually, and I'll say that without any type of attachment to it. I know what I am for sure. There's a difference though in being an egoic God and being yourself. It's very different. and so I do walk people through extreme states of delusion, because I have been through it myself. And when I say that extreme states of delusion is what, you're perhaps referring to, the immediate inflammation of the ego to a grandized sense of God. Bless our hearts, bless our souls. It's a tough one to walk through, because you feel it. You feel it in all your cells. I am. It's like, I know you are. Believe me, I am you too. And I know what you're feeling. But you are, everything is you. Everything. It's not you separate. I am separate. No, I am totality. You are me. I'm you. And so I walk people through this, and I see it so often, that inspiration straight out the gate. Boom, I'm going to serve combo. I'm going to serve LSD. You don't see so much ceremony with LSD, but ayahuasca, people get activated and they really just want to serve it. San Pedro medicine. And it does, there are ecological impacts to this. And as one who serves the Bufo, I have a 6-year relationship with this medicine. I'm here in the desert to collect this medicine. I walk the land from which the medicine comes. I handle the toads. I know them. I have an intimate relationship with them that I've taken time to cultivate, led by my heart and by spirit, and the community of practitioners that I'm a part of, that I can reference and how we do this. And so as a person gets activated, say Bufo Alvares, you can want to serve everyone and everything, and probably be called to want to serve this medicine. It makes a difference on our environment, how you do. Because if you just rush to the desert and go tromping through the desert and damaging things, like right now, like peyote, for example, is endangered in my country, in America, because people, like over harvest things and are a detriment to the environment of which these natural medicines would occur. And so that's happening. That's, at least there's an awareness to that with this toad, that the encroachment on the environment, the effects of, really, if you go out to harvest a toad and you think you're going to make money on it, you should not touch a toad. Do not touch that toad. That toad is not a money for you. That toad produces a medicine. It's a medicine. It has a function. If you are trying to make money off of this toad to sell online with medicine, I call you into your heart space now to release such practices, because we're being called to honor spirit in the way of sustainability. And that means really honoring the power of these molecules, really honoring yourself. Respect yourself. You've given yourself these great privileges and honors. Please handle them responsibly, ethically, morally. And so we can benefit from these beautiful plant medicines. But if you're harvesting or growing any of them because you think you're going to make money on them, you're not honoring yourself. You're not respecting yourself to the full intention of these medicines. And so that process is something that I request people to take time to mature in, that level of relationship. Because when you can have that, your integrity is aligned with the people you're going to serve. And it does, like I said, it has environmental impacts. You're not going to go tromping through the desert with every footstep thinking and sending some vibration out to the universe, and I'm going to make some money. Every step makes a difference. How you walk in the desert makes a difference. How you breathe in the desert makes a difference. And if you're sending thoughts of capital gain over these medicines as you're collecting these medicines, that's not the energy that these medicines want to align with. And there are people that they ask to align with them because you're open to it here. Please walk softly on the earth when you're here. Please dance and sing for rain while you're here. Please allow yourself the full connection with your creation. And when you walk in this spirit, you're a medicine person. You're qualified to be a clean conduit for yourself, because you're not going to impose your views or belief on anybody. You don't need to. I don't need to impose any of my views on people. I love you, and in that love field, you will see the truth. You will come to your own conclusion, because to me, it's the nature of every one of us. I've seen it as the foundation of creation, and anybody who takes the time to honor that comes to the same conclusion. And so we don't need to force views upon people. We don't need to force medicine upon people. You just hold the space for people who are ready and prepared, and you help those who are interested get more prepared for it, so that they have the best experience they can, because that person is you, and you want them to have their best experience for the sake of you, because they're you, and it's just like, know that they can have this evolution or rebirthing of themselves into a much grander experience of life, like a new metamorphosis of their being. And you get to be the one to be the doula, the cosmic doula to be there. And that happens with that connection and that maturation with yourself, and taking the time to honor all of these, just to honor yourself, to respect yourself, and develop that relationship. I went on long about that. I apologize. I'm passionate about this subject.
Thank you. Now, beautiful said. Thank you so much for sharing that. So the ego, inflammation of the ego, I like that, is not serving. It's detrimental to collective consciousness, and it's also not sustainable, because through the psychedelic medicines, when we go through this ego trips, one of my favorite stories is, I actually saw this with my own eyes in one of the community groups. One lady messaged and said, I'm dealing with a narcissistic partner. She said, is it a good idea that he should take psychedelics? And then another lady jumped in and answered. She said, no, with exclamation, no. She said, I was dealing with a narcissistic partner, and now he's taking psychedelics. Now he thinks he's God. So it's like that, right? So I think I love what you said. So the 3 things I'm taking away: maturity, allow the maturation process, allow the connection to the medicine, be the extension of the medicine. I love these concepts, because when I used to do my foundational work with my shaman, she always used to say, for those people that used to just wake up from the ceremony or come down from a ceremony and say, oh, guess what? I am shaman. The medicine told me that I need to do what you're doing. And she would just kindly listen, and she'd be like, I never forget. She has this very lovely, subtle tone to her voice. And she's like, just kind of acknowledging the person, because you don't want to also upset them, because who are we to decide who should be serving the medicine? But I love her approach. And she will always say, when you're ready, the medicine will find you. Just trust that. So that was so beautiful, that she always encouraged people. Don't go and find it. Don't go and look online and buy it, because online I had it, my first-hand experience, Vishnu. I had a guy message me privately on Messenger, just because he saw some of the content that I was sharing on psychedelic medicines. And he said, with a broken English, he said, I have 2 gallons of ayahuasca. Do you want to buy it? And that's when I realized how detrimental this is for the environment. Like you said earlier, this needs a super, super strong responsibility, ownership, and knowing. I looked into the peyote and San Pedro as well, and I was shocked to learn that peyote takes years and years to grow. That really broke my heart. And we can just yank it out of the earth just because we want to use it for ceremony. It kind of, imagine how many years, at least 2-3 years, they say, that it takes to grow a peyote plant. And my heart just kind of broken into pieces, thinking that, wow, look at the nature. Even the medicine, I think best, if you want to grow it in your own home and really nurture it all those years, and prepare yourself in the meantime for the medicine. I think there are so many ways, like you said earlier, there's so many ways we can do this without hurting anybody, with responsibility, taking ownership. And yes, the Messiah complex is very real, but I think holding the space, just like my shaman used to set an example, just acknowledging the person, yes, not judging, and just saying, when you're ready, when you're really ready, the medicine will come to you. I think that's kind of a good indication to direct people. But, you know, the world that, you know, we cannot deny the dualistic reality. Of course, there's going to be dark forces, people using and abusing psychedelic medicines. It's always have done, and it's been done. It's been used for magic. It's been used for so many things. But also, it's very important to talk about this, but also focus on the positive and share some of the things that we've just shared in terms of just kind of bringing awareness. These things are happening, so let's not be part of that. Yeah. So thank you so much.
We get a choice even within the medicine world. We get a choice to make on how to serve that duality, how to serve our duality. And I've seen these medicines used in all kinds of misappropriate ways. I would say that I found myself having to navigate places like that, sometimes without even knowing, oh my gosh, what kind of thing I opened up. It's like, oh wow, like because there are all types of beings, and not just human beings. There are all kinds of beings, and sometimes I've opened up things that obviously I was prepared to, because I wouldn't have access to it otherwise. However, it can be a lot. It can be cumbersome to open some aspects of yourselves, the multidimensional self, and have someone present, or someone their presence is carrying a channel to this entity or something. There is a fullness in the medicine space, meaning there is a very dark side of the medicine space. There's a very, very dark side of the medicine space. And if you're unaware of it and don't know how to navigate it, it can do things. It can have detriment. And so I do like to honor the conversations that happen around that side as much as all the benefits. Really, it's like, I love the benefits. It's easier to smile and joke and laugh about the benefits, but there are some malpractices and abuses that happen around these things, and it serves us to be honest enough to address them. And so some are on a physical level, and some are on very deep psyche levels, but they're present. They're present, and I'm happy to have conversations right now with everyone about them, so that we can navigate them more safely. I'm a big fan of education. I'm a big fan that if you give people knowledge, that person can guide themselves better through that knowledge, with that field, because they have a tool set of knowledge. They're not going into it blank. I also honor the original creativity to navigate something originally with original creative thought, and not being tainted by prior projections or seeds. And so there is a very intentional sharing on subject matter like this, because we are very suggestible, and we can plant seeds in people's subconscious that manifest into real experiences. So I am very select in what I do share, at the same time as I honor some of the most challenging conversations in and around psychedelics, because I have been witness to things that people would not believe until you've seen them. It's like, I can't believe people would use these this way, or to call in those type of entities and whatever, but you wouldn't believe it until you witnessed it and then and actually experienced it. And like, my God, people are doing this. It's like, yeah, this is for real. Some people worship this way. It's bizarre, but I mean, it's again, it's one of the ways that the universe is experiencing itself. And I choose to align myself with benevolence, with love, with joy, with purity. He said, that's what I enjoy. That's what is called forth from me. It's what wants to happen through me. And in that sense, I honor my other half too, my duality. I honor as well.
I love that. Yeah. Reinforcing the fact that we have choice. We have always had choice, always have choice how we practice. Yeah. And this is so good. And one thing I wanted to say, also, I want to ask you about the Bufo medicine, but one last thing, just to close this window that we just opened with the malpracticing. I think I believe that human beings, that's probably why the assignment factor, the contract factor, I do believe in humanity. I am naive, maybe. I do believe in the power of collective consciousness coming togetherness and healing togetherness and love and embodiment, all of that. And I do realize that I think this is our natural form. And that's why once the medicine reveals us, we meant to serve. We meant to help, guide, walk each other home, like Ramdas said. And once that revealed, it's very natural for us to want to be in that assignment. I'm signing the contract today. As soon as I witnessed so many people during the ceremony saying, I'm a healer, this is my path, and I've just kind of assigned to it sort of concepts. And yeah, I think it's just our natural way as human beings. We are just called to be good. There is this intuitive humanness in all of us that we just want to share, care, guide, teach, learn from each other. And just there is this deeper wiring in all of us that is innately good. So I just wanted to kind of leave it there for that part. So yeah, just wanted to take your thoughts on the innately good in all of us.
Absolutely, I agree. And I've bared witness to very similar experiences in the middle of ceremony. All likes of healer aspects are awoken in a person, and it's very easy for me to encounter, because it's like, yeah, you are actually a healer, but you're healing yourself. This is a process of healing yourself, and that's the only type of healer that you can be, really, as a healer of yourself. And from that place of healedness, you hold space for others to become their own healer. And so a healer is certainly what I'm experiencing in you. Perhaps not the healer in the sense that our ego likes to say, oh, I'm going to go out and I'll fix the world. I'm a savior to the world. It's like, that's where the ego gets into it. But I witness healers awaken all the time in ceremony. It's like, yeah, you are. I can feel the healing taking place within you. So I can't deny that you are a healer. I would wait until some time has gone by to feel if what you experience as a healer is called to a medicine or not. That's a different story, or a modality to use. But you are a healer in the fact that you're healing yourself, and we all have that innate ability. And the natural capacity to want to contribute to the health of the world, the health of community, the health of the environment is there in everybody. I really do feel it is it is the key to world peace. Even is acting on that innate or inherent quality within us. And I've seen no greater tool to do this than to bring people into the awareness of oneness. And as you demonstrate and walk a life of oneness and act from that place where I can love my neighbor as myself, because it is myself. I eat the way I eat because I love animals and I love plants, and I eat in a way that sustains the earth, that makes sure that everybody has food and that nothing had to really suffer for that. And so as you demonstrate this, and if people want to know why, people ask you questions. People ask me all the time, like, oh, what do you believe in? It's like, I'm pure love. I'm pure consciousness. I believe in oneness. It's like it's the non-dual state. It's you or me, and I am you, and it's the perfect way to live on this planet because I get to produce the world based on my actions. How am I treating myself? Everything is how am I treating myself? You know, am I treating the environment lovingly? Am I treating my relations lovingly? Am I treating peers lovingly? It brings peace because you see very clearly in the oneness that I reap what I sow. What I do to you, I've done to myself. And so how am I treating myself? How am I showing up for myself?
Yeah, and that was it. I think you said that the best way possible. The thought of we are innately good people, and we all have the capacity to be good and to do good. Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Yeah.
And from that place of oneness, that innate capacity to want to be good, do good, serve is there. It's just right there. So available. It's because it's so clear that it's you. It's you. And I really believe this is at the base of us too. In fact, one of my favorite books and one of the most known books, the Bhagavad Gita, says that it's how you live once you know yourself. You know, once you come to know yourself, you live in service to yourself. And I do believe that. You know, it's a very suggestible thing from a very prestige book, though I do believe it as well. It resonates well with me.
Yeah. Thank you. So now, for the last portion of our conversation, can we talk about Bufo? What makes it so different? What makes it so unique and super healing? Because I listened to a lecture from a neuroscientist gone into the Bufo medicine, and she said it is a literal nervous system reset. Tell us a bit more about what you know and how did you connect and what's this Bufo all about?
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Praise the Bufo. Praise this desert and praise the rain. Thank you, rain. So I had the very fortunate experience of coming to this desert 6 years ago, and some of the latter half of a very long spiritual quest. And it was my first night here in the desert. It was Father's Day. And that night I was in such a beautiful place, free as a bird. It just felt so free and liberated. And I was sitting watching the sun set, and it was so beautiful. The colors in Arizona sky and sunset, they're remarkable out here. And so I'm admiring the nature beauty, and this giant toad comes and just sits right next to me where I'm sitting. It just comes up and sits there. And at this point, I have a very good relationship with animals. I can tell when an animal is paying attention to me and that it wants a direct interaction with me. And you can tell this with nature. Like nature will oftentimes interact with you. It wants to do something with you, and it'll demonstrate this. The air and the wind is playful. The water is playful in this way too. And so the toad came to me, and I began to have this interaction with the toad. I didn't understand fully what it wanted, but I was open to interact with it. And then it went on its way. And I thought, wow, that was so cool. That was the biggest toad I'd ever seen. It was giant. They're giant toads. And I was so excited that I just witnessed this toad. I told my neighbor the following day that I had seen this toad. She said, oh, that's the Bufo Alvares toad. It's the largest North American toad, a Colorado River toad, the giant Sonoran toad, some names. She sent me a link on the biology and the environmental location and all this stuff with it. And so I just read up about it. And I believe it was 2 days later, I had mentioned to another resident at this community that I was present in that I had this interaction with a toad. And that at that point, the man asked me if I was aware that it had this psychedelic compound or psychoactive compound in it. And I was like, no, I've never heard of such, I've never heard of this. And then he said, oh yeah, it's supposed to be very, very powerful. And so, I had this interest at the time. I was like, okay, well, let me look into this. And I went online and really there wasn't much information at the time. 6 years ago, there wasn't hardly any information online. There was one pamphlet that a man, I forget his name, Ken something, had written. And so I started reading the pamphlet and learning about this toad. And in the meantime, several days later, some neighbors came to me and they said they had actually milked one of the glands of one of the toads that they found. And they asked me to prepare it if I would. And I was, okay. So I consulted spirit as I do. I was like, okay, this is happening. This has been brought to me. Obviously you want my attention here. What do you want from me here? Like, how do I show up in service in this place? My attention is being drawn to this subject. It's been delivered to me. This medicine's been delivered to me. I met this toad. How is it that you want me to proceed? How is it that this happens? And it ended up giving me, through meditation, some insight on how to prepare the medicine. And I had an initial ceremony with the medicine and 2 other individuals. After that ceremony, I had a second ceremony 20 days later. And after that second ceremony, a connection was established with the medicine that is thriving today in me. And it came with so much information, so much clarity on how to serve the medicine, how to practice in a way that this medicine wants to be practiced with. And so it's really bizarre, right? That it's like, it came from within, but it's also a connection to outside, because there's a physical toad that this medicine, and I actually physically administer this medicine. So there's a physicalness to it. And what's amazing is now, since I've gotten that guidance and shared with others and heard others back, it's actually pretty much a standard of how practice with this Bufo. So whatever is guiding us unanimously. We have the foundation or the template from which we serve is pretty much the same in all the Bufo practitioners I've met. Anyone who's really tapping in, unless there's somebody who's just got excited and they're just now beginning with it, they may not serve this way because they're learning still or not connected. But everyone I know who appropriately serves this medicine has pretty much the same template of how we serve from. And so what makes it what it is, I don't think I could explain that in words, truly. It's one of those experiences that is, it holds space for an experience that is ineffable. And a full nervous system reset would be one way I would describe it. Yes, it completely resets you. And it works with you where you are. Now, being that this is such a limited resource, it is a very select resource. It comes from a very small species of animals, only accessible in a very small period of the year. And meaning that as I work with this molecule, I do the best that I can to ensure that person is really prepared for this medicine. I just want to try it, it's not for you. It's not something you just try. You can go try soda, you can try tacos, you can try all types of things, but this isn't a trying. I just want to try Bufo. You don't just try it. You're called to this medicine. If you really are really like going to have the experience, you're called to it. You're called to it, and you have taken some steps to prepare yourself for it. It's a great initiation. It is an initiation to, for me, it was the first time in this body that I had my non-experience, and which that is as close to as I can describe it, because I was in a state of awareness of no body, of no mind, of no time. There was nothing but infinite. Everywhere was here. And even if I tried to travel within that space, I would still be here, because everywhere I am, there was nothing. There was no second thing. And so there's no fear. There's no presence of fear, because all there is you. there's, and the elation of it is nothing but pure euphoric bliss, just pure bliss, would be no fear. And it was interesting because I there was not even a concept of thinking. There was just an experiencing of myself. Like, it was like, if I thought it I don't even know how to even perceive a thought in that space. It was just an experience of myself. And so it provided for me the first time to have an experience of not thinking, of not seeing, of not being in a form of some kind, of being conceptualized. It was completely beyond concept. It was beyond birth and beyond death. It was so beyond that even the words that I speak about it don't even come close to the direct experience of it. And how that actually takes place, I'm still discovering with the molecular, chemical, neural process and all this stuff that is happening. We are all discovering what it is right now. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gaining some understanding that it has the capacity to completely disable the default mode network in our conscious perception of being a human, or identity is completely suspended, and the brain is lit up, just like a Christmas tree. So you're using more parts of your brain, and different parts of the brain are connecting. And so it's however it's allowing what it allows. I'm grateful that it allowed for me to have the experience that I did, and for the people that I have witnessed have that same experience. There is no greater communion with myself when I hold myself and that person can see I, and that's all that they see is I. It's I and I everywhere. Everything I see is my infinite beauty. And as I get to witness a person do that, I couldn't imagine doing anything else on this planet anymore. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the medicine gets a person to there every time. There are people who smoke the medicine and don't get to that space. They're still got stuff to do, and it will show you at that point what you need to do to move further, to further your evolution, to deepen in your awakening. But for the ones that I get to witness do that, oh, my love. It is the reward of being for me, to see myself liberated from the limited self, and then return to the limited self to experience it from totally different. It's like, oh wow. It's like, I know, right? Yeah. Wow. And so praise the Bufo, praise the sacred molecule. A complete reset is something that many people would report. A direct connection with the divine, how another person would report it. Most oftentimes people hardly have the words for it. And that's why the integration process becomes so important, because it's like, I know it's hard to speak about it, but we need to bring it out. Let's not right now after ceremony, but tomorrow, let's reflect upon it. Let's make words for it. Let's cultivate words to connect with, so that we can remember it, and it doesn't just become a vague experience. It's tangible. It's experienceable outside of it, because you don't have to take the medicine all the time once you've got the connection. And that's one of the greatest post-ceremony benefits I've witnessed with the Bufo, is it has a lasting impact. It has the capacity to create a channel connection that a person who practices yoga, meditation, Tai Chi, any of that, can access it again and again and again once initiated to it. It becomes the standard of my meditation, or even going into sleep or out of sleep. I feel the same theta brainwave state, or whatever I'm going into as I go into sleep and out of sleep. I'm in that. I can go into that, what we'd call the Bufo experience. It's available. It gives you that path of, oh, that's it. Okay, now that I've been home, I know how to get home through all my other methods now. I can get there through breathing. I can get there through my diet. I can get there through just sitting and watching a beautiful canyon, because I'm familiar again with myself. I've been home, and I know I've been home without a doubt. I'm not just thinking and that bypassing. I'll bring that up right now, because there is that, oh, I think I'm home. Or I'm very, very spiritual. I have light council meetings with Pleiadians and galactic people. And it's like, great. And I'm not doubting your experience. But if you want to really, really know without knowing, without thinking, there is a way that you don't have to think that you know anything, because there's nothing to know. It's all sitting in infinite there. You don't have to hold it. It's like, it's self-sustaining, it's self-present, it's all pervading. You can just open up and channel parts of it. It's like, oh, I need to channel this part, channel that part, whatever it is. And so it is provided for me all of that. And through that, I have doing my best effort to provide that for other people, with guidance, preparation, keeping the sacredness alive with medicine practice, and allowing the heart to blossom.
Wow.
Praise the Bufo.
Wow. Thank you so much for all of your wisdom. This was very powerful. I have a few takeaways. One, do not try for the sake of trying. This is not the medicine for you. I think this is so profound, and it's very, very timely now. And I think it kind of shows me how serious the psychedelic medicines are. If, it's not just for trying. Even if it's something else, it doesn't have to be for, even if it's psilocybin or ayahuasca, I think it kind of has this sense to how serious and sacred, and how you're going into a very deep and big experience. So make sure you are ready. So I like that. And the other one is, you can be home without creating all these narratives about, like some of us do feel the need, which again, holding space, but at least, knowing that, I think what the best thing I'm going to take away is, like, it's already happening. You said this on the first episode as well. The infinite unfolding is already happening. You don't have to hold it. You don't have to contain it. You don't have to make stories about it. Just be and breathe into it. Just breathe it through you. This is a great way to close our second conversation. I want to say infinite gratitude. Thank you for all your teachings and energy that you bring us here. Namaste.
Namaste, Susan. Thank you.
Thank you. And for our listeners, hope you enjoyed another powerful conversation with Vishnu. And thank you so much for tuning in. And don't forget to connect with me or Vishnu. Drop your comments, ask questions, even just share. We are all one. You are your favorite is you are me and I am you, right?
That's right. That's it. That's
Amazing.
it.
And it's happening right here, right now. Don't forget.
That's it.
All right.
Tune in. Your life is live. This is the miracle. Right here, right now, this very breath. All of creation made just so you could have that breath. Your heart beating. All of this, every grain of sand put in exactly its place so that you can be right here, right now, to feel exactly what you're feeling. Tune into it. Feel the love of it. Feel the miracle that it is. Live in harmony with yourself, because you're a living gift. You are. I thank you, family. I love you.
Beautiful. Thank you. And thanks very much, guys. I'll see you on the next episode. I'm sure we'll have Vishnu back again very soon, because your energy is very addictive, so I have to say. So we're definitely going to have you back again. And until next time, much love. Bye for now. Thank you so much for joining us. Psychedelic Conversations podcast is designed to educate, inform, and expand awareness. For more information, please head over to psychedelicconversations.com. You can also share with your friends or leave a review so that we can reach more people. You can also join us in our private Facebook group to keep the conversation going. This show is for information purposes only, and it is not intended to provide mental health or medical advice. Thanks for listening.